The human ship Silverwing moved through the silent dark of space, following the strange coordinates sent by the terrified alien child. The crew had been quiet since receiving the message. A rescue mission was never part of their plan. They were only a small cargo ship, not a war vessel. Their job was to move supplies between stations, not fight slavers or rescue kidnapped families. But none of that mattered now. A child had begged them for help. Captain Mara Hale stared at the glowing coordinates on the screen. Her face looked calm, but everyone knew she was thinking hard. She wasn't the type to turn away from a cry for help, especially not from a child. "Distance to target?" she asked. 2,000 kilometers, replied Jonah, the navigator. "Descending into Lareda's orbit now." The planet below appeared small and brown, with patches of green and blue. It was quiet, too quiet. No orbiting satellites. No defense grid. No city lights. Just a lonely world sitting in the cold of space. The Silverwing began to descend. As they passed through the thin atmosphere, the crew saw the colony for the first time. Small dome houses, simple farms, dusty paths, and a single landing pad made of old metal sheets. Nothing about Lareda looked dangerous or powerful. It looked fragile, peaceful, and abandoned. "Where is everyone?" whispered May, the ship's engineer. They scanned the area. No voices. No movement. No signs of life, except a few heat signatures hiding inside buildings. Fear. Hiding. Waiting. The humans landed carefully. The ship's ramp lowered with a soft hiss. Captain Mara stepped out first, wearing no helmet to show she came in peace. The air smelled like dry soil and smoke. A small figure peeked from behind a broken wall. The child. The same one from the holo message. Her eyes were large and bright, glowing softly in the dim light. She looked scared, like someone who had been running for days. She carried a small metal transmitter close to her chest, as if it were a shield. When she saw the humans, tears filled her eyes. "You came," she whispered. "You really came." The captain knelt down. "We came because you needed us." The child rushed forward and hugged her, shaking. Mara gently held her, feeling how thin and cold she was. "What's your name?" the captain asked. "My name is Leary," the child said. "Please, you must help my mother." The raiders took her. The other humans joined them. Leary led them into the colony. The buildings were cracked, burned, and broken. It looked like a storm had hit, but there was no storm. Only violence. Inside the main hall, the humans finally saw the survivors, about 20 aliens, weak and frightened, hiding together like trapped birds. They had no weapons and no strength left. Their eyes widened in fear when they saw humans walk in. Everyone in the galaxy knew humans were Deathworlders, creatures from a deadly planet who fought like wild storms. Most races avoided them. But today, the colony saw something different. The humans had come not to fight, but to help. An old alien stepped forward, leaning on a wooden stick. His skin was pale from stress. "I am Elder Saren," he said. "We owe you our thanks. Leary told us she sent a message, but we feared no one would come. We feared it was already too late." Captain Mara bowed her head respectfully. "Tell us what happened." The elder sighed, pain heavy in his voice. "The Crawl Raiders arrived 3 nights ago. They came without warning. Their ships appeared above us like dark wings. We have no weapons, no defenses. We could only hide." The humans listened. Their hands clenched as the elder continued. "The raiders took many of our adults. Strong ones, skilled ones. They need workers for their mines. They call it recruiting, but it is nothing more than slavery." Leary stepped forward, voice breaking. My mother tried to protect us. She told me to hide. The raiders grabbed her and took her away." Tears streamed down the child's face. The elder placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "She used an old transmitter to call for help," he said. "We did not think it would reach anyone." Captain Mara looked at her crew. Their expressions were serious, determined. They were only a cargo ship. They were not soldiers. But none of them hesitated. Jonah nodded. May clenched her fists. Rafi, the security officer, stepped forward. "Captain, say the word," he said. "We'll get them back." Mara turned back to the survivors. "Do you know where the raiders took the prisoners?" The elder pointed toward the sky. "To the dark sector. The Krull fortress lies there, inside an old asteroid. It used to be a mining station. Now it is a cage." A chill ran through the room. The dark sector. A place no sane crew visited. A region where even light seemed afraid to enter. Ships entered, but rarely came out. Leary grabbed the captain's sleeve. "Please," she whispered. "My mother is kind. She always helps everyone. She does not deserve this." Mara felt something tighten in her chest. She had fought pirates before. She had seen evil things. But hearing the fear of a child, there was nothing harder. She placed a hand on Leary's head gently. "We will not leave her behind." The child looked up with wide, hopeful eyes. The captain stood tall and turned to her crew. "Prepare a signal to Earth Command," she ordered. "Tell them we have a slaver group abducting civilians. Request immediate support." Jonah typed the message fast. "Message sent, Captain. But command is far away. It could take time before a fleet arrives." "We won't wait," Mara said. "We move now." The crew knew what that meant. They were going into the dark sector alone. May exhaled shakily. "This is crazy." Rafi smirked. "Yeah. But it's the human way." Captain Mara faced the frightened survivors. "Stay hidden. Stay safe. When the fleet arrives, they will protect you. Until then, trust us." Leary stepped forward again. Why are you helping us?" she asked. "Everyone says humans are dangerous." Mara smiled, warm and fierce. "Humans are dangerous," she said. "But only to those who hurt the innocent." The child nodded slowly. And as the Silverwing prepared to leave, the elder whispered, "Perhaps the stories are true. When Deathworlders promise to help, they do not stop until the job is done." The humans boarded their ship once more. Engines lit. Metal roared. And the Silverwing rose into the sky, heading straight toward danger. Because someone needed them. And humans always answer the call. The Silverwing lifted off from the colony with a soft roar, leaving a trail of dust behind. Inside the ship, the crew worked quickly. Every second felt heavy. Every moment felt like someone was running out of time. Leary, the alien child, sat near the back of the main cabin, hugging her knees. She looked tiny against the metal walls. Her eyes were red from crying, but she refused to sleep. She wanted to see everything, hear everything, know everything. Her mother's life might depend on it. Captain Mara Hale watched her for a moment before turning back to her crew. "Status?" she asked. Jonah, the navigator, tapped on his screen. "We're heading toward the dark sector now. Estimated arrival, 1 hour." May frowned deeply. "The dark sector is bad. Really bad. Our ship was never meant to enter it." Rafi, the security officer, crossed his arms. "Good thing we're not a normal crew." The captain gave a small smile. "Exactly." But even she felt a knot in her stomach. Humans had many strengths, courage, stubbornness, creativity, but the dark sector was infamous. It wasn't dangerous because of nature. It was dangerous because of the things hiding inside it. Criminals, raiders, abandoned war machines, and things even worse. Still, they flew in. Because they had to. The darkness ahead. The ship approached the edge of the sector. The stars around them dimmed, almost as if something swallowed their light. The screen showed a warning. Entering uncharted space. Visibility low. Threats unknown. The closer they got, the more unnatural the darkness seemed. Clouds of dust floated across their view, each one drifting slowly like ghostly shadows. Jonah whispered, "Feels like something's watching us." No one disagreed. The dark sector didn't just look dangerous, it felt alive. As they crossed deeper, static filled their comms. The lights flickered. The ship shook as if brushing against invisible waves. "What was that?" May asked. "Gravity distortion," Jonah muttered. "The asteroid belts here. They move strangely. Like someone is pulling them around." Ruffy stepped toward the window. He froze. "Captain," he whispered. "You should see this." Mara walked beside him and looked out. Floating in the darkness were ships. Not one. Not two. Dozens. Some were raider vessels, still active, drifting slowly on patrol routes. Others were destroyed ships, broken hulls, torn metal, old battle scars. They floated like dead skeletons, reminders of the many who had tried to enter this place, and never left. Leary's voice broke the silence. "That's why we were scared. My mother said, the dark sector eats people. She said no one comes back." Captain Mara knelt beside her. "You came back," she said softly. "And we're going to bring your mother back too." Leary nodded, even though her hands shook. A strange signal. Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped loudly. Beep, beep, beep. Jonah turned pale. "Captain, something just scanned us." Ruffy stood straighter. "One of the raider ships?" "No," Jonah said. "Something bigger." A cold wave washed through the cabin. Another beep echoed. Then a third. Something huge was in the sector. Watching them. Studying them. Mara narrowed her eyes. "Find it." "I'm trying," Jonah said, hands flying over the controls. "There's interference everywhere. Static. Darkness. Silence." Then, a shape moved in the fog. Ruffy whispered, "Captain, that ship is massive." It looked like a giant shadow with glowing red lights, slowly turning, slowly facing them. "It's not attacking," May said nervously. "It's scanning," Mara said. "It wants to know who we are." "For what?" Leary asked quietly. Mara didn't answer. She didn't know. The fortress reveals itself. The Silverwing slipped deeper into the sector. Finally, the scanners caught something. A large structure. Far too large for any normal raider base. Jonah zoomed in. "Captain, that's it. The Krull Fortress." It was enormous, a hollowed asteroid that had been rebuilt with metal walls, ship docks, weapons towers, landing bays, and glowing red shields. It looked like a giant beast sleeping in the dark. Leary gasped. "That's where they took my mother. That's where the others are." The humans exchanged grim looks. Mara stood tall. "Ruffy, get the weapons ready. May, prepare the stealth field. Jonah, plot a low-energy approach." May's eyes widened. "Captain, our stealth system is experimental." "Then it's perfect," Mara said. "We don't win by being stronger. We win by being smarter." Leary looked up. "Are we going to fight them all?" Mara shook her head. "Not yet. First, we go in quiet. We learn the layout. We find your mother. Then." She smiled. "We teach the raiders why everyone fears the Deathworlders." The stealth run. The Silverwing powered down its lights. Its engines dimmed to a soft blue glow. Its systems entered quiet mode. The ship drifted toward the fortress like a shadow. Only a few meters away, raider patrol drones floated by. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy a small ship. The crew held their breath. One drone paused, turned its sensors toward them, scanned the darkness. The humans stayed still. The drone drifted onward. Everyone exhaled. "That was too close," Jonah whispered. "Get used to it," Mara replied quietly. "The warning." As they got closer, May's console flickered. Captain. I'm picking up a message. Old frequency. Very weak. Play it. A faint voice came through the speakers. A tired, trembling voice. If anyone hears this, stay away. Crawl Fortress is a trap. No one escapes. They will. The message cut off. Silence filled the ship. Leary hugged herself tightly. Captain, please, don't leave my mother. Don't leave the others. Mara placed a hand on the child's shoulder. We're not leaving, she said. Not now. Not ever. The Silverwing slid into the shadows below the massive asteroid, preparing for the dangerous mission ahead. They were deep inside enemy territory. One wrong move would mean death. But humans were used to danger. They were Deathworlders. And they had come to answer a call for help. The Crawl Fortress grew larger and darker on the viewscreen as the Silverwing drifted closer. It looked like a scar in space, a huge asteroid carved open like a wound and filled with metal towers, blinking red lights, and docking ports shaped like hungry mouths. Every part of it felt wrong. The fortress was not just a base. It was a machine made for fear. Captain Mara Hale stood behind Jonah as he guided the ship forward. The crew was silent. Even the hum of the engines sounded nervous. Stealth field at 30%, May whispered. We're nearly invisible to their sensors. I think. You think. Ruffy raised an eyebrow. May glared at him. It's experimental, Ruffy. I built it in a week using scrap parts and an old cloaking disc. You're lucky it works at all. Ruffy held up his hands. Hey, I wasn't complaining. I love being invisible. Mara couldn't help smiling slightly. Humor helped them breathe in situations like this. Humans always found a way to joke, even in danger. But her eyes returned to the massive fortress. Bring us closer, she said. Slow and low. Like a ghost. Jonah adjusted the controls carefully. Understood. The Silverwing went silent, engines humming so softly it felt like the ship was holding its breath. The first glimpse inside. As they drifted toward the asteroid's outer walls, the humans saw docking bays filled with raider ships, sharp, spiked vessels painted in blood-red colors. Some were shaped like blades. Some like claws. All were built for hunting and capturing. Those ships, Ruffy muttered. They look like someone wanted to design nightmares. They succeed, May whispered. Leary sat strapped into a chair near the back, eyes wide and frightened. She stared at every passing shadow, every raider ship. That one, she said, pointing with a trembling finger. That's the ship that took my mother. The ship she pointed at was small but armored, with glowing symbols painted on its hull. It looked like a hunting animal returning with prey. Ruffy clenched his fist. We'll get her back. Leary nodded, though her eyes filled with tears again. A deadly circuit. Jonah frowned at the readings. Captain, the fortress is surrounded by an energy ring. Explain, Mara said. It's like a giant circuit, Jonah said. Rotating. Shifting. If we cross it at the wrong angle, the fortress will spot us instantly. May zoomed in on the screen. They're using old Imperial tech. That stuff is unpredictable. We get one chance. Captain Mara took a deep breath. Tell me the weak point. May pointed to a small gap in the rotating ring. Right there. There's a half-second delay in the cycle. If we hit that exact spot when the rotation shifts, we slip inside unnoticed, Mara finished. Or, Ruffy added, we get blasted out of the sky. Very helpful, May muttered. But Captain Mara nodded firmly. Do it. Time the break exactly. The ship trembled as Jonah maneuvered into position. The rotating energy ring glowed brighter as they approached. Ready, May whispered. 3, Jonah said. The ring shifted. 2. The hum grew louder. 1. A bright flash filled the windows. And the Silverwing passed through the gap like a needle threading a hurricane. Silence. The crew held their breath. Jonah checked the panels. His eyes widened. They didn't detect us. Mara exhaled slowly. Good. Take us inside. The belly of the beast. The inside of the asteroid was worse than any of them expected. Huge hangars stretched downward in layers, filled with cages, clamps, cargo stacks, and weapon racks. Metal walkways crossed the open space like thin spiderwebs. Prison cells hung from chains, dangling over drops that went down hundreds of meters. The fortress didn't look like a home or a base. It looked like a trap built for pain. Rafi stared in disgust. They built this place to break people. Not today, Mara muttered. Jonah pointed at a large platform deeper inside. That looks like a maintenance dock. It's quiet. No guards. Mara nodded. Land there. The Silverwing floated silently through the metal maze and lowered onto the empty dock. A soft thud echoed. Lights flickered above them. Mara grabbed her gear. Rafi, May, suits on. Non-lethal first. Lethal only if we have no choice. Rafi smirked. I always wanted to punch a raider. May rolled her eyes. Just follow the plan. The plan unfolds. Captain Mara crouched by the ramp. Leary stood beside her, looking scared but determined. You stay here, Mara said softly. Lock the door. Don't open it unless you hear my voice. Leary nodded slowly. Bring her back, please. Mara touched the child's shoulder. I promise. With a hiss, the ramp lowered, and the humans stepped into the fortress. The air was cold and dry. It smelled like oil, rust, and old smoke. Their footsteps echoed quietly as they moved through the dim corridors. They passed storage rooms filled with stolen goods. Hallways lined with broken machines. Doors scratched from the inside. This wasn't just a raider base. It was a prison. Every shadow felt like it held danger. Every sound made them tense. Finally, Rafi stopped and pointed at a glowing panel on the wall. Captain. Prisoner manifest. If we hack this, we can locate the captured colony members. May knelt down. Give me 30 seconds. Sparks flew as she worked. The panel flickered, then lit up with a map. Mara leaned close. Rows of blinking dots appeared. Prisoners. Leary's mother's ID flashed near the center. There, Mara whispered. Deep inside the fortress. Rafi grinned. Then let's go get her. But before they could move, a loud alarm shrieked. Red lights flashed. A harsh robotic voice echoed through the halls. Unidentified entry detected. Breach in Bay 6. Raiders to position. May's face went pale. Captain, they know we're here. Mara grabbed her weapon, eyes turning sharp. Then we fight our way through. Humans came to help, she said. And no raider will stop us. Captain Mara Hale crouched near the back hatch of the Silverwing. The lights inside the ship were dim, the air tense. The humans stood ready, Mara, Rafi, and May, each wearing light armor and carrying compact tools, scanners, and stun weapons. Behind them, little Leary watched with wide, trembling eyes. You stay here, Mara said gently. No matter what happens, do not leave the ship. Leary's voice cracked. But, what if something happens to you? Mara placed a hand on the child's shoulder. We humans have a rule. When someone asks for help, we don't stop until we finish the job. We'll come back. Leary nodded slowly, gripping her transmitter tightly. Okay, I believe you. May managed a warm smile. Stay near the control console. If anything goes wrong, hide under the emergency table. Rafi winked. And if someone boards the ship, scream very loud. It hurts raider ears. Leary giggled weakly. The ramp lowered with a soft hiss. The shadows of the Krull fortress stretched across the dock like claws waiting to grab them. The humans stepped out. A descent into darkness. The inner levels of the fortress felt colder than space. Metallic hallways twisted like veins, filled with the low hum of generators and the distant clang of heavy machinery. Red lights flickered randomly, making everything feel unstable. Ruffy scanned the air. Lots of heat signatures below us. Probably prisoners. Mara nodded. And guards. Even more, he replied. Stay close. Stay quiet, Mara ordered. The humans moved with silent precision. Humans were predators by nature. Even without weapons, they knew how to walk without sound. How to watch shadows. How to move like a storm waiting to happen. They reached a large steel door. May pulled out a hacking tool made from a broken plasma cutter and an old datapad. This is heavy security, she muttered. Crawl tech. Ugly stuff. But I can open it, maybe. Maybe. Ruffy whispered. May glared. Ruffy, please. Let me work. She connected wires and typed quickly. Sparks danced across the door's panel. The screen blinked. Access locked. May frowned. They're running old encryption. That's good. Old encryption is stupid. Ruffy looked impressed. I like stupid. May grinned. Me too. A moment later, the lock clicked. The door slid open. Cold air rushed past them. They stepped inside. The prison hall. Rows of metal cages hung from the ceiling like lanterns. Creatures of every shape huddled inside, thin, bruised, terrified. Some looked like they had been there for months. Some cried when they saw the humans. Some simply stared with empty eyes. Mara walked slowly, scanning each cell. Stay alert, and look for Leary's mother. Whispers spread across the hall. Deathworlders. Humans, here. Are they going to kill us? Or save us? Ruffy whispered back. Save, obviously. One alien reached through the bars, voice shaking. Are you real humans? Mara nodded. Yes. The alien sobbed. Then we are finally safe. Mara clenched her jaw. No innocent being should feel this much fear. It filled her with anger, but focused anger. The kind humans were famous for. She continued forward. Then she heard something. A weak voice from a lower cell. Please, please help. Mara moved toward it. Inside was a group of Narrated adults, thin, exhausted, shaking. One of them looked up. Her eyes were the same bright color as Leary's. Are you? Mara whispered. Are you Leary's mother? The woman struggled to stand. Yes. My daughter. Is she alive? Mara smiled softly. She's safe. She sent us. Tears filled the woman's eyes. Thank the stars. I thought I lost her. Mara nodded. We're taking you all home. An alarm they didn't expect. May approached the lock of the cell and started hacking. Give me 20 seconds. A sudden loud clang interrupted her. The humans froze. Red lights flashed. A deep siren wailed, echoing across the chamber. Ruffy cursed. Someone tripped the alarm. No, May said, eyes wide. It wasn't me. The system activated from somewhere else. The cages shook as prisoners panicked. Footsteps thundered above them, heavy, metallic, fast. Ruffy raised his stun rifle. We've got company. Captain Mara stood tall. Positions, she ordered. The first fight. The top doors burst open and crawl raiders poured in. Large armored creatures with gray skin, sharp teeth, and glowing bone tattoos. They roared, weapons raised. The first one jumped at the humans. Ruffy moved faster. With a single punch reinforced by his exosleeve, he sent the raider flying into a wall. The creature collapsed with a crash. Human strength, Ruffy muttered, cracking his knuckles. Never gets old. 3 more raiders charged. May slid across the ground, firing her stun weapon. Blue arcs of energy struck each target, sending them twitching to the floor. Mara grabbed a pipe from the wall, swung it like a blade, and knocked a raider off the walkway. The creature fell into the darkness below, howling. More raiders appeared on the balconies above. Rafi shouted. They just keep coming. Keep fighting. Mara yelled. May, get that cell open. I'm trying. May cried. This system is fighting back. The cell door clicked. It opened. Leary's mother stumbled out, supported by 2 other Laridans. Mara faced her. Can you walk? Yes, the woman said weakly. But we must hurry. The human decision. Rafi fired another stun shot, dropping 2 more raiders. We need to get out now. Mara nodded. Everyone follow me. The humans formed a protective circle around the rescued aliens, moving quickly back toward the exit doors. Prisoners cried with hope. But as they reached the hall entrance, May looked at her scanner. Her face drained of color. Captain, she whispered. We have a problem. What is it? Mara asked. May swallowed hard. A full enemy battalion just entered the lower levels. They're blocking our escape. Rafi cursed. Over 100 raiders. Mara clenched her jaw. Leary's mother stared at the humans, terrified. What will we do? The captain lifted her chin. We do this the human way, she said. We don't run. We go through. And with that, the humans prepared for the storm. The first crawl raider leaped from the upper walkway like a falling boulder, armored fists ready to crush anything below. His roar shook the prison hall. Prisoners screamed and backed against the cage walls. But Captain Mara didn't hesitate. She moved like lightning. Rafi left, she shouted. Rafi fired a stun bolt that hit the raider mid-air. The blast didn't knock him down, but it slowed him enough for Mara to dodge aside. The raider crashed onto the floor with a heavy thud, cracking metal panels beneath him. He growled and pushed himself up again, anger rising like heat. May. Mara barked. May slammed a small device against the wall. It sparked, crackled, and burst in a wave of blue electric arcs. The raider jolted as electricity danced across his armor. He fell to his knees, shaking violently, then collapsed with a loud crash. Prisoners gasped. Some whispered in awe. Humans, they fight like storms. But the fight was just starting. More raiders stormed into the hall. 6, then 10, then more. Heavy boots slammed down, echoing like drums of war. Rafi grinned. This is where the fun begins. Mara glared at him. Don't enjoy it too much. The fight turns intense. The raiders charged as a group, firing energy rifles that lit the hall with blue streaks. The humans had no shields, but they had speed. Move. Mara shouted. The team split, dodging blasts that sizzled past their bodies and struck the floor with explosive sparks. Rafi slid behind a support beam and fired 3 stun bolts in fast succession. One raider fell immediately. Another stumbled. The third kept coming, roaring like an animal. Hard-headed monster, Rafi muttered and ducked behind another beam. May tossed a smoke sphere into the center of the hall. It burst open, releasing a thick cloud of white smoke. The raiders coughed, confused, firing wildly. Humans, however, moved easily. Smoke meant nothing to them. Their eyes could track shadows, their ears could hear every step, their instincts guided them like wolves in darkness. Mara used the smoke as cover. She jumped onto a cage, climbed up, and kicked a raider off a walkway. The creature fell screaming into the smoke and hit the ground with a crunch. Prisoners inside the cages watched with wide eyes, gripping the bars. So fast. Are they even mortal? These humans, they are Deathworlders. A dangerous turn. One raider, taller, heavier, clearly a commander, stepped forward. His armor was thicker, decorated with jagged symbols. He carried a cannon-like weapon. He scanned the smoke cloud. His voice boomed. Enough playing. Kill them. He fired. A massive pulse shot out, blowing away the smoke and shaking the entire hall. "Cover!" Mara yelled. Ruffy dove behind a cage. May ducked under a broken walkway. Mara dodged the blast by inches. The energy beam skimmed her arm, burning the armor. She winced but kept moving. The commander aimed again. "Ruffy!" Mara shouted. "Left side, distract him." Ruffy sprinted out, firing bolt after bolt at the commander. The bolts bounced off the thick armor with little effect. "I'm distracting him," Ruffy yelled. "But he's not impressed." Mara moved quickly, circling behind the commander. "May now!" she shouted. May activated a magnetic pulse tool. It buzzed loudly, then shot out a wave of force that slammed into the commander's back. His armor sparked. He shifted his weight. And for one moment, he was open. Mara leaped forward. She grabbed 2 exposed wires from the side of the weapon, ripped them out, and jammed them directly into the commander's shoulder joints. The armor overloaded. Electricity shot through the raider's body. He roared in agony, stumbled, and collapsed like a falling tree. Silence followed. Then prisoners began to cheer softly. One whispered, "Humans, they fight giants with their bare hands." Ruffy whistled. "Nice move, Captain." May nodded proudly. Deathworlder improvisation. Mara wiped sweat from her forehead. "We're not done. The alarm is still ringing." And indeed, it was. Red lights flashed. Sirens wailed. More footsteps echoed in the distance. "We need to free the prisoners now," Mara said. "Freeing the captives." May rushed to the control panel and began slicing wires. Sparks flew as she bypassed circuits. One by one, cages began to unlock with loud metallic clicks. The Narrated mother stumbled out of the cage and fell into Mara's arms. Thank you," she whispered. "Please take us away from this place." "We will," Mara promised. Ruffy and Mara helped prisoners out while May worked fast to disable the alarm. But the fortress was gigantic. And the raiders were gathering again. Ruffy scanned the hallway. "Captain, we've got a problem." "What now?" Mara asked. Behind Ruffy, a massive steel gate was rising. Dozens, maybe hundreds, of raiders stood beyond it. All armed. All angry. All ready. Ruffy swallowed. "We might need a bigger plan." Mara narrowed her eyes. "Then we make one. ChatGPT can make." For days it had been silent, peaceful, almost empty. Only a few stars blinked above the farms and muddy homes of the small colony. But on this night, everything felt different. The air hummed. The ground trembled. The wind carried a strange electric charge, as if the world itself was waiting for something powerful, something dangerous. Commander Rourke stood outside the human dropship, helmet tucked under his arm as he stared toward the heavens. Behind him, Narrated villagers watched with fear and hope. The child, Lyra, stood closest to him, her small hands shaking even as she tried to smile. Is that them?" she whispered. Rourke nodded slowly. "Yes. That's Earth Command. When the humans call for backup, they never send just a rescue team. They send power, force, fire. And above Larita, that fire was arriving. The first sign was a bright streak cutting across the clouds like a burning blade. Then, another. And another. Soon the streaks multiplied until the sky looked like a shower of falling stars, each one glowing white-hot as it entered the atmosphere. But these were not meteors. They were ships. Deathworlder ships. Lyra gasped and grabbed Rourke's sleeve. Even the human soldiers stepped back as the sky lit up with roaring engines and blazing thrusters. The ground shook harder when the first of the massive vessels broke through the clouds, its shadow covering half the colony. It was a Titan-class battle carrier, one of Earth's most feared war machines. A second one followed. Then a third. Smaller ships swarmed behind them like angry metal birds, forming tight attack groups around the carriers. Their engines emitted a deep, thunderous growl that made every Laradin's bones vibrate. The villagers had never seen anything like it. To them, it was like watching the arrival of gods. To the humans, it was simply standard procedure. Rourke tapped his comlink. Earth Command, this is Rourke. Colony Narrated is secured. Raiders are expected to return within the hour. A calm voice replied, echoing through his earpiece. Understood, Commander. All units prepare for hostile contact. Fleet positioning engaged. The Deathworlders were ready. The villagers looked around nervously, whispering among themselves. Will there be a battle? One of them asked. Rourke answered with a steady voice. Yes. And you all need to stay underground. When the fighting begins, do not step outside. No matter what you hear. The villagers obeyed instantly. Humans were terrifyingly efficient. Their tone carried no uncertainty, no hesitation. Rourke wasn't warning them, he was giving them a promise. No harm would come to this colony. Not while humans stood on its soil. As the villagers hurried toward the underground shelter, Lyra stayed behind, her wide eyes fixed on the massive ships overhead. You really came, she whispered. You sent so many ships, for my mother? Rourke knelt in front of her. No, Lyra. Not just for your mother. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. We came because someone asked for help. And humans take that seriously. She swallowed. Will you save her? Rourke nodded. We will. A loud alarm suddenly blared from their ship. A soldier rushed over. Commander, we have incoming signals. Multiple Crawl Raider ships, fast approach. Looks like they're returning to finish the job. Rourke stood up instantly. His eyes hardened. So they came back. The soldier nodded. And they brought more ships. Rourke smirked. Good. Saves us the trouble of hunting them. Above them, the human battle carriers shifted formation. Their underbellies opened, revealing rows of heavy cannons. Smaller fighter ships flew into attack lines, engines glowing brighter. The air filled with metal wings, sharp lights, and the heavy pulse of engine heat. Deathworlders were preparing to strike. Rourke touched Lyra's shoulder again. You need to go into the shelter. Now. She hesitated. But. We'll bring your mother back. I promise. She nodded and ran toward the underground entrance. The moment the door closed behind her, the sky erupted. The Crawl Raider fleet burst out of hyperspace with a high-pitched scream that echoed across the valley. Their ships were crude, sharp, and ugly, spinning blades of metal with glowing blue engines. They flew in chaotic lines, shouting through open frequencies. Narrated belongs to the Crawl. Surrender your resources. All humans and aliens will serve. But as soon as the raiders saw the human fleet, their tone changed. What is this? Those are Earth warships. We were not told humans were involved. And then, retreat, retreat. But it was too late. The human carriers fired first. Thick beams of white energy shot down like lightning strikes, slicing through the Crawl ships before they could scatter. Explosions lit the sky in violent flashes. Orange fire, blue plasma, spinning debris raining down like broken stars. Rourke watched calmly as the Deathworlders tore through the Raider fleet. Target the lead ship, he ordered. We need it intact for boarding. Human fighters darted forward like hungry predators, isolating one Crawl vessel while destroying everything around it. The Raiders tried to fight back, but their weapons were weak, outdated, and unfocused. Their shots hit the human shields and disappeared instantly. It was not a battle. It was a storm. A Deathworlder storm. Within minutes, the Raider fleet was in ruins. Only one ship remained, the lead vessel, engines crippled, hovering helplessly above the planet. Rourke smirked. Good. Now let's go get her. Her? The pilot asked. Rourke's voice turned cold and sharp. The child's mother. She's in that ship. The pilot nodded. Understood. Boarding team ready. Rourke stepped into the dropship, helmet clicking into place. "Send us in." As the doors closed and the dropship launched toward the raider vessel, one thought echoed through every human soldier's mind. The Crawl made one mistake. They hurt someone who asked humans for help. And now, they would pay for it. The battle outside raged like a storm made of fire and thunder. Even deep underground, the Narrated villagers could hear the distant booms as human ships destroyed raider vessels one after another. Dust drifted from the ceiling with every impact. Some villagers trembled. Others prayed. But Lyra only sat near the metal door, hands squeezed together, listening. She wasn't afraid of the noise. She was afraid of silence. Because silence meant she still didn't have her mother back. Up above, Commander Rourke and his team stood outside the human dropship, watching the sky burn. The human fleet had turned the night into bright daylight with each blast of their cannons. Crawl ships fell like pieces of broken metal birds, crashing into the nearby hills. But some escaped. Not destroyed, just damaged. And they were heading straight for the raiders' base. "Commander!" a soldier shouted, checking a glowing map on his arm. "We've tracked the retreating ships. They're going back to their hideout, looks like a captured mining station in the northern mountains." Rourke's eyes sharpened. "Is that where they're keeping the prisoners?" "Yes, sir. Scanners show life signs. Many." Rourke didn't hesitate. He never did. "Gather the strike team. We're going after them." Another soldier approached, cautious. "Sir, the raiders might kill the prisoners once they see us coming." Rourke looked at him with a cold, steady stare. "Then we make sure they don't see us." The humans moved fast. Within minutes, a small assault shuttle rose from the colony, slicing through the smoke-filled air and heading toward the mountains. Its engines were silent, built for stealth. Inside, Rourke stood with 5 elite soldiers, Deathworlder specialists, each wearing dark armor and carrying weapons that hummed with contained power. On the screen in front of them, a rough stone mountain appeared. At its base was a massive metal facility, half buried in rock. Bright blue force shields glowed around it like a protective bubble. "That shield is tough," one soldier said. "Normal weapons can't break it." Rourke smirked. "Good thing we aren't normal." The shuttle descended, landing quietly behind a ridge. The humans stepped out, their boots sinking into cold dirt. The wind howled through the mountain passes. A faint glow from the shield lit their faces as they approached the facility. One soldier set a small device on the ground, a cube with blinking lights. "EMP charge ready," he whispered. "On your mark." Rourke checked the timers on his visor display. "Activate." The soldier tapped the cube. A silent flash rippled outward. The mountain seemed to hold its breath. Then the shield flickered. Bright blue, dark blue, then gone. "Move," Rourke ordered. The humans sprinted toward the entrance. A pair of crawl guards noticed too late and raised their rifles, but the Deathworlders were faster. 2 quiet shots, 2 enemies dropped. Inside the mining station, alarms wailed. Red lights spun across the walls. Crawl raiders yelled orders, their voices echoing through the metal tunnels. Rourke and his team pushed deeper, clearing each hallway quickly. The air smelled like sweat, metal, and fear. From behind one locked door, someone screamed. "Help! Please, someone!" Rourke planted a charge. "Stand back from the door," he shouted. Boom. Smoke blasted outward. Inside the room, alien civilians huddled together, scared, thin, bruised. A Narrated elder stepped forward, shaking. You're humans," he whispered. "You came." Rourke nodded. "We're getting all of you out." They took some of us deeper inside," the elder said. "Including a woman with silver hair. She fought them. They dragged her away." Rourke's jaw tightened. "Lyra's mother," he said quietly. He turned to 2 soldiers. "Get these people to the shuttle. We'll continue." They nodded and helped the prisoners escape. Rourke and 3 soldiers moved into a darker part of the facility. The walls were rough stone now, not metal. This part was older. Dangerous. They heard voices ahead. "Bring her. She'll fetch a high price," a raider shouted. Rourke motioned for silence. The soldiers spread out, hugging the shadows. They rounded a corner, guns raised. There she was. Lyra's mother. Tied, injured, but standing tall despite the pain. 2 raiders dragged her by the arms. She glared at them with fierce, determined eyes. "Let me go," she hissed. "My daughter will find someone to stop you." One raider laughed. "A child? No one is coming for you." Rourke stepped from the shadows, his voice cold. "We came." The raiders spun, but they didn't even get to fire. Rourke moved like a hammer of lightning. One hit the ground. Another tried to run, but a soldier tackled him. The hallway went silent. Lyra's mother stared at Rourke, shocked. "You're a human." "Yes," he said gently. "Your daughter saved you. She sent us the signal." Her breath caught. For a moment, she forgot her wounds. "Lyra, she's alive?" Rourke cut the ropes binding her wrists. "She's waiting for you." She staggered, but Rourke caught her. "Come on. We're taking you home." They moved back through the tunnels. The whole facility shook as the human fleet above blasted the last raider ships. Dust rained from the ceiling. Lights flickered. The station wasn't going to last long. "Hurry!" a soldier shouted. They raced through the entrance and into the cold night air. The shuttle was waiting, engines humming, prisoners already inside. Lyra's mother looked back at the burning mountain base, then forward at the humans. "You didn't have to do this," she whispered. Rourke smiled. "We help those who ask." The shuttle lifted off. Far below, the raider base exploded, lighting the mountains with a final burst of orange fire. The rescue mission was over. But the story wasn't. Because soon, Lyra would see her mother again. And the entire colony would learn what it truly means when Deathworlders answer a call for help. The shuttle cut through the night sky, its engines glowing like a comet streaking across Larida's dark horizon. Inside, the rescued aliens huddled together, some weeping quietly, some staring in shock. Lyra's mother rested in Rourke's arms, her breathing slow but steady, eyes never leaving her daughter. Lyra ran forward the moment the shuttle landed back at the colony. She threw herself into her mother's arms. The two cried together, holding tightly as if the world had finally righted itself. The villagers gathered around, cheering softly, whispering words of thanks and awe. "You saved us," one elder said, shaking with emotion. "All of us. You humans came for us, and no one else dared." Rourke stepped forward, helmet under his arm, his eyes scanning the small village. "We don't just save people because it's easy," he said. "We save them because someone asked for help. That is the human way." May smiled as she adjusted her gear. "They'll remember this day forever. They'll remember that humans don't back down." Rafi, ever the showman, grinned and added, "And if anyone tries to mess with this colony again, they'll remember that too." Lyra's mother knelt and held her daughter's face in her hands. "I thought I lost you," she said softly. "I don't know how to thank you." "You already did," Mara Hale said. Her voice was calm, almost gentle, but it carried the weight of authority. "You survived. That is thanks enough. Humans don't need gold or rewards. We do the job, and we leave the rest to the people we saved." The villagers stared at them, awe in their eyes. The colony that had once trembled under fear now stood a little taller, feeling safe for the first time in months. A lesson in fear and respect. Meanwhile, high above Larida, the remains of the Krull raider fleet floated in wreckage. The survivors who escaped now understood a hard truth: humans do not act recklessly, and they do not forgive when asked for help. The name Deathworlders spread quickly, whispered in every corner of the galaxy. A surviving raider commander hissed at his officers. "We underestimated them. They are not like any enemy we've fought before. They come, and they win." One young raider trembled. The humans, they destroyed our fleet, with just a few of them? Yes, the commander growled. And the next time, they may not leave a single one of us alive. Above the mountains, the human fleet began to retreat, engines humming in unison. They did not celebrate. They never did. Their victory was simple, clear, and final. They helped those in need. They punished those who threatened the innocent. That was enough. Rebuilding and hope. In the following days, the human crew helped rebuild the damaged colony. They repaired homes, restored farmland, and taught the Laridans basic defense methods, not weapons, but ways to survive. Mara Hale and her team trained the villagers in vigilance, preparation, and teamwork. Even Lyra and a few older children learned how to send messages safely, how to detect danger, and how to rely on each other. "It's not about fighting," Mara said one evening as she watched the sunset with Rafi and May. "It's about knowing that someone will answer when you need them most. Humans make sure that the innocent have that chance." Rafi kicked a rock playfully. "And if anyone messes with this place again, they'll know humans don't play nice." May chuckled. "Let's hope they remember it for the right reasons." From afar, Lyra and her mother watched the humans train the villagers. Tears glistened in Lyra's eyes. She hugged her mother and whispered, "They're incredible, aren't they?" Her mother nodded. "More than I ever imagined. I thought humans were myths, but now I know, they're real. And they are more powerful than any weapon." The human legacy. As the human crew prepared to leave Larida, Mara Hale called the villagers together one last time. "Remember this," she said. Her voice carried across the clearing. "Help can come from anywhere. But some people, some species, answer calls when others are too afraid. That is how humans act. We protect those who ask for help. We never forget. And we never give up." The villagers listened in silence, understanding a truth they had never known before. The humans were not only strong, they were unstoppable when defending the innocent. Their courage, their skill, their determination. It would be remembered in stories, songs, and whispers for generations. Lyra looked at Mara. "Will you come back?" Mara smiled softly. "If anyone ever needs help again, we'll answer. That is what humans do." With that, the human dropship lifted into the sky. The roar of the engines filled the valley, a sound of power, hope, and protection. The colony watched until the ship disappeared into the stars. They were free. They were safe. And they would never forget the day the humans came. Epilogue. Deathworlders' Way. Far across the galaxy, rumors spread. Stories of humans who answered impossible calls for help, who faced overwhelming odds, and who never left anyone behind. In every sector, in every system, one lesson was clear. If a human comes for you, there is hope. If you threaten the innocent, there is fear. And if you call for help, the Deathworlders will answer. The universe learned a truth that could not be denied. Humans were not to be underestimated. They were not to be feared for cruelty. They were to be feared for courage, strength, and unwavering resolve. And that was how humans became legends.